I'm Vanessa Joy here with a Create No Matter What challenge, and this time we're doing food photography. If you're not familiar with the Create No Matter What challenge, it started honestly with lockdown. And for me, it's always been something that we can do at home and still shoot and be creative. So today we're going to be baking chocolate chip cookies with my son Judah, and then we'll also be making a cheese board. Now naturally, Adorama has partnered with Canon and Intel to give you a challenge that could end up giving you about $3,000 worth of prizes from Canon and Intel. You can head to adorama.com/create no matter what for all of the details and to enter. Oh, where's my camera? No, here we go. I will be using the Canon M50 Mark II with the 32mm, and this is a nice little prime lens. It's a 1.4, and I'm also using VFlat's new Duo Boards. They're called Duo Boards because they have this side and then they all have another side. You can do this at home. I won't be using a ton of fancy equipment. I'm just going to have fun, which is the most important part. So the first thing I'm going to do is set up a mess. I'm gonna do this without my son, and then we will actually get baking. Okay. There's a lot of stuff you need for chocolate chip cookies, but it doesn't really all look good together. So I'm just going to pick the items that are going to match the color scheme. 1 cup, 2 sticks. Gross. Ugh. I keep going back and forth to my laptop, which is powered by an Intel chip, giving me my recipe, so I make sure that I'm only pulling out the amounts that I need so I don't mess that up later. Yes. So I'm just gonna pile as much as I can do here on this Duo board. Now I can put a back on here if I want to, but I think I'm gonna concentrate on more of a lay flat. This is looking pretty good. I think I'm gonna take some pictures, and then afterwards I'll add the chocolate chips on top. So this is about where I want to be, 800 on my ISO, so I'm not going too high. I am nice and low on my aperture 2.2. I might even go ahead and bring that to 2.0 just to get a little bit more light in there. And I'm at 1/80th of a second, which is as low as I want to go to avoid camera shake. And this is looking pretty good, but let's just take one picture. So I'm just gonna press play and look at my histogram here. I see a little bit of highlight blinking, but just really in the shine of the product. So I'm not particularly worried. I think that's a good exposure right there. Now let's just have some fun. Let's shoot. I think that's it. I think we're good. So I'm gonna get my son down here and we're gonna bake some cookies. Okay, bring your stool over right here.
I'm missing. I'll try one.
Little tip, by the way, if you like them mushy in the middle, keep them little balls like this. If you like more of a crunchy cookie, flatten them a little like that. So I've got everything set. So I'm just gonna take an overall shot, some close-ups, and then sit Judah right here with just his little hands coming in and taking a cookie. He's going to come in fast. So my goal is to now have a higher shutter speed, about 2/50th of a second. If we have a little bit of too dark of shadows, I'm not really that worried about it. I'm going to show you how I bring up those shadows editing in Lightroom in just a minute. How do we do? Did we make good cookies?
Mm-hmm.
Show me the cookie. Ooh. Mmm. Mm-mm-mm. Now we're going to get to the cheese plate. For some adult time, I'm going to make a cheese board here, but the fun part is gonna be how I light it. I want to add a hard light, which is gonna work out really easily. In fact, in the lighting conditions that I am in right now, you could probably use a flashlight. Naturally, I'm not going to use a flashlight. I'm going to use my Profoto B10's modeling light, and you can make it really cold or really warm. But the key to this, to making it look a little bit more natural, like it's just streaming in early morning or late night through a window, is using a grid. And that's what I've got right here. We're just going to plop this grid. This is the OCF2, so it's nice and magnetized. Plop that right on top. The other thing that I can do is I'm going to shut my shades so that I'm killing most of the natural light in the scene. I think I'm going to go for a little bit warmer in contrast to everything else that's here. So that's as warm as it gets. Now I'm gonna lower it a little bit. You'll see the shadows start to form. See the shadows? How this is going up. You don't see as many shadows. I go down, now I see more shadows. The more shadows I see, especially in food photography, the more texture I'm gonna get. So I'm gonna photograph this where I'm really filling the frame. You see everything in here. Now I'm just gonna come and get all of my close-ups. I am going to lower my shutter from where I had it before. I'm gonna go all the way down to 1/80th of a second. Now we're done. Now we're good. Let me show you what these look like and how I would edit them. So I pulled my favorites into Lightroom. Everything else that you've seen up until this point has been straight out of camera. So you're seeing exactly what I got. Now you see how I enhance it. I'm gonna go into my develop module and use my favorite preset, the Joyfully Simple. And then I'm going to bring up the texture a little bit and bring up the clarity. That way I can really see a lot of the details. I think I'm gonna bring up the shadows a little bit more and bring my blacks up. So right about there is probably where I want it. Now I could go a little bit warmer if that's what I was going for, but I like it where it is. You notice the cookies are looking a little red, so I'm just gonna mess with my color. This was a little underexposed, remember, because I went up to 250th of a second because I knew I would have my son popping in here and I wanted to be able to catch his movement. This is my favorite one. That's really what I was going for. I think this one, probably my dark and moody preset, is gonna do what I want, or maybe the gray day. Ooh, I like what the colors are doing in this gray day. I'm gonna go ahead and do that and then just make some adjustments so it looks exactly how I want it to. That's what I was going for. And then of course, bring up the texture so that I have nice details in there. It's looking pretty good. Now of course, it is up to you. This preset definitely dulled down the color. You could always bring it back a little bit if you want to, get some of that pop, or you could be very selective and just bring up maybe the reds and the oranges. All right, so these are my final photos. I have to say my favorites would probably be these 6. So I hope you had fun here and you're inspired to go do this Create no matter what challenge yourself. All of the details for entering and entering to win that Canon and Intel prize pack is at adorama.com/create no matter what. So I hope you join me, you do some food photography, and of course get to have a little fun also.